Hello, everybody, and happy Star Trek Tuesday. It is a very lucky day because we have news. Finally, for once, we will be talking about a Star Trek 4 movie update. Is that Star Trek 14? Yes. Why do they call it Star Trek 4? I don't know. But whatever that is, we have a major update kind of for all of you. We also have an update on Lower Decks Season 5 being in production already, which is amazing. There's a very special Star Trek birthday happening right now. And we got tons of other stuff. We've got a huge announcement about Mission Log and Roddenberry podcast because we've got the John Champion joining us.
As if there's another one somewhere, and there is.
I heard there's a John Campion.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, we don't talk about him. Yeah, well, thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, everybody, for welcoming me in. Yeah, and I can't wait to hear this big news drop about Star Trek 4. Yeah.
It's huge.
Everybody.
Star Trek 14 was a Biltmore Christmas thing.
Oh yes, a Biltmore Christmas, or Section 31. We don't know. That voice you heard, everybody, was Dr. Anne Marie Siegel, the walking exclamation point. She does walk. Does.
And exclaim.
Yes. Yeah. Point. Look, everybody. The pirate known as Jenny R. Johnson is here as well. Whoa.
Oh, hello. Hello, all. Hello.
You're actually kind of ripped, Jenny.
Thank you. I have not been trying at all. Thank you.
It's probably from always painting.
Oh.
Like
Painting
drummers are always kind of.
Yeah. Always painting. Yeah.
You know who else is ripped? I bet it's Melissa Longo.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh.
We know she is.
Yes.
Although I've had to take more than a few days off. I hate being sick.
Oh no.
Because then I
Weird.
can't work out.
Hot take. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and I love being sick. But look, everybody, if you want to get an awesome family shirt like Melissa's wearing, or an awesome Stembolt and Chill shirt like Jenny R. Johnson is wearing, you can get those in the description box below. Just click on the Star Trek and Chill online store and get your very own in your very own size and favorite color. Makes a great gift or gift idea for yourself. It's also great. Give yourself a gift. What's wrong with that?
Right?
Absolutely.
So first things first, let's just get into this. Does anybody in the live chat know whose birthday it is? And while we're doing that, hello, Dead Purple 7, our good friend out in California's beautiful Central Valley. War Dog Heim, hello. Lucia, JR Poole, Glenn. We see all of you. Fran, who just had a birthday recently.
Yeah.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
Fran. Lucia in Brazil, Dave Gregory, JR Poole, and everybody. All right. So the answer is, of course, this person's birthday. While I'm pulling this up, please make sure you like this video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you're listening in, give us a 5-star rating. We'd really appreciate it. And a nice review. It is Alexander Siddig's birthday today.
Hey,
Nice.
And if you don't believe me,
Good
check out this
doctor.
cool meme. It's Garrick in an O'Brien Scant uniform, and he says, "Tonight you can call me Miles. Happy birthday."
Dear. Oh
Legs.
dear.
Well,
Wow.
I was
Wow.
just thinking that, Anne Marie, those legs.
Wow.
God.
Scaly.
Oh, man.
You know,
Yeah.
it's been a few years since I've worn the scant to Vegas, but I feel like this would bring a whole new angle
Yes.
to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Are you
Yeah.
listening, Mike Schmidt?
Definitely.
A new angle to try out. Yeah. And yeah,
Wow.
Bashir's going, "My word."
It really
Um,
is my birthday.
Wow.
So let's get into this interesting news of the week. This is from ScreenRant.com, our good friends over at ScreenRant.com. This is John Orchiola at Back of the Head. Of course, you know him. Quote, shoot, there's no more surprise. Quote, of course not. Chris Pine update shuts down Star Trek IV Return. I don't know. Is there much to read there?
It's just,
Oh my God, for some
it
reason-
has the quote.
For some reason, I thought Kurt was spelled with a K, like the kid in Sound of Music.
Oh no!
I just learned something
Oh,
because they never saw it written.
I love Kurt.
You thought the R was an N?
Oh, I just see was a K. Like, whoops. Okay, now I know.
So it reads a little
Oh my
something like
God.
this. Chris Pine gives a curt update that shuts down whether there are plans for him to return as Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek IV. The fourth Star Trek film produced by J.J. Abrams has been in development for several years. I feel like there could have been a comma there. Has been in development for several years. High-profile filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino, Noah Hawley, S.J. Clarkson, and Matt Shackman have all been attached to direct Star Trek IV, but they all left due to, quote, creative differences. Meanwhile, Pine has expressed his willingness to reprise Kirk, but he seems resigned that it's unlikely to happen anytime soon. During the promotion of his new Disney animated film, Wish, Chris Pine was asked by Comic Book if he has any knowledge of forward movement in Star Trek IV, and the actor was blunt in his response. Check out his quote below. Quote, not that I know of. Of course not. That's it. Okay, cool. News.
When he was asked if he read a script, he said, "Of course not."
Okay, well, that's...
That is
Yeah.
slightly
That's-
different. It's true. That is slightly different.
That is a little bit of a fake out.
news?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a fake out from the headline. He says, of
It
course,
is.
I've not read a script, but he's a little less blunt
Mm.
when answering the question of, if a film is happening at all or if he would do it.
Mhm.
Yep.
He has no news. And I think nobody
Right.
has news.
Right.
But asking if there's a script, of course not, because there is nothing to discuss at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, John, we were kind of
Yes.
hoping you could sneak in and be like, however, I know something that most people don't know.
Uh-huh.
Is that the case?
If
Of
I
course
did,
not.
I
Okay.
would absolutely lie to you and say that I don't know anything. Therefore, I'm telling you that I don't know anything.
He saw
Oh.
a memo in the garbage can at Roddenberry Archive.
A memo in the garbage can. Right. No, I mean, obviously, I couldn't say anything. Anyway, even if I had heard any inkling of a rumor floating around. That said, I am very happy to give you my own opinions on this, which are multitude and varied, because I honestly don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Let's say that Chris Pine said, yes, there's an upcoming movie. I haven't read a script yet, but I will gladly sign on when we get the green light. All right. It's been what, 9 years since the last
7.
movie? 7. Okay. All right. 9 years since Into Darkness. So 7 years since Beyond. I liked Beyond quite a bit. I think those 3 movies just kind of work well together, telling their own story in that parallel universe. What do we do with a Kirk now who is pushing Wrath of Khan age, And I mean, look, that
Wild,
cast,
eh?
that cast, they're still young and sexy, no question about it. They have all aged well. But I feel like we have a lot of Star Trek that we're exploring on streaming now. And I don't know where that would fit. I don't know where a 4th movie in that timeline.
Mhm.
Like, is it necessary? What do you guys think?
I kind of think now I like the movies because it gets a whole new audience into Star Trek,
Mm.
which is
True.
like the huge benefit. So the
Mhm.
point you're making about like a cast that I'm not going to say they're aging because I don't think it's old, but like
Mhm.
Right.
would that cast demographic bring in like a young audience who just goes to the movie to go to the movies? I don't know.
Right. Well,
I
Mhm.
kind of feel like they do still have box office appeal. I mean, Zoe Saldana definitely.
mm,
She's she's still doing Avatar, and that's a big blockbuster.
And
So
Marvels.
Yeah.
and Marvels. So if they're looking to do something that rivals Marvel, then I think then they should do another movie. But if they're okay with just the streaming stuff, not just the streaming stuff, but
yeah.
okay with just
Yeah.
the streaming stuff, then they should focus on the streaming. But if they want a blockbuster movie, then they should go for it.
Mhm. It's funny because
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like we've now lived with them long enough that even those of us who had a bit of a disconnect between like Star Trek as we knew it and the JJ Star Trek, I feel like I feel like we've all kind of warmed up to them a lot more. And there is now it's like a nostalgia factor, and it's just like I just want more Star Trek, and I like these guys, so like why wouldn't we do it? But in terms of actually, drawing in new audiences and like you say, Melissa, like it's I don't know, it's yeah, I feel like my opinion is different than it would have been 5 or 6 years ago.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think that's what's so interesting is because you're both saying kind of the two ends of the spectrum here, which is that, okay, Star Trek on the big screen brings in a new audience because it's new and different from what is streaming that is really probably geared toward the fans who are in it for the long haul. But at the same time, this is now a cast that we're feeling nostalgia for that started in 2009. And that feels like a lot of history now.
That's
so
crazy.
how are they
Yeah.
the new thing to bring in the new audience if if
True.
they've
Totally.
been these characters since
It's
2009? So I don't really know.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I come back to I don't know where they fit. Like
Mhm.
I love that cast. I think they were so good in those movies. Even if I didn't
Yeah.
always love the movies, I love that cast. So where do they exist? They're not the original cast, clearly, but they're also not what's on streaming right now.
Yeah.
And now you got two hot Spocks. What are you
This is
what are you doing
true.
with two hot
And you
Spocks?
had Zachary Quinto at Vegas, like literally sort of passing the torch to Ethan Peck too. So
Mhm.
it's like
Right. Yeah.
Right.
yeah. It's
It's
really
a
interesting.
weird,
Like,
it's a weird position to be in. And
Mhm.
I kind of felt like, okay, if those are the three we get, cool, that's the three, and we move on. But then what do you move on to?
yeah.
Because
Section 31
I would have put
Well,
Section
TV
31 in the
TV
theater.
movie,
yeah.
Like,
Oh
the
yeah,
show
but
you
see,
think you would
TV
get.
movie, that's it. Yeah,
Mhm.
different thing,
Yeah.
different stakes. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing is,
Different
I kind of agree. I mean, we've kind of touched on it a bit, but I kind of like them more now in hindsight. When we were
Yeah.
in the middle of it, we were kind of like, all right, we'll take it. It's all we got, but then there's some people who are like, that's
mean,
not Star Trek. And then the
we
rest
were
of us were
also
like,
in
yeah,
it.
it kind of is though, but now I look back and I'm like, that was actually really Star Trek, especially that
Mhm.
2009 movie was very
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I look
Yeah.
back and now in hindsight, I would like to see these guys one more time.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They're a great crew. They're good people. Most of them are all still relevant. Chris Pine's doing Dungeons and Dragons, which I still
Yeah.
haven't seen, but I really
It's
want
so
to.
good. Oh my god,
It's so good. Yes, I agree. I enjoyed
And
it
Zoe
too.
Saldana is like one of
It's-
those people that does like the trifecta. I mean, Marvel,
Right.
Avatar, Star
Mhm.
Trek. If she can be a Jedi on top of that, she becomes the champion.
She could.
Nice.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
that's John. We already got one.
Well, she can be one too. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
This is champion. All right, that's cool.
So I'm very curious to see how this unfolds. Back in 2016, I remember going to of course there was the big premiere down at Comic-Con, and that was a huge deal with the live orchestra, and that was awesome. But there was a press event, I think, right before that, and I want to say it was there that they even announced, like, oh yeah, we've already been greenlit for a fourth movie. And everybody felt very confident about Beyond. And there was a lot of press around, of course, Simon Pegg being a co-writer on it. and just
Yeah.
everything felt really good. And as a fan who was very lukewarm, I loved 2009, lukewarm about Into Darkness. I
Mhm.
felt very at home with Star Trek Beyond because it felt like, oh,
Mm.
they're just doing an episode. They're doing
Yeah.
it big, but they're doing an episode. And
Mhm.
then the box office. And all of a sudden that green light just sort of faded away and nobody talked about it again for a few years. And it became a question, oh, wait, can they do a fourth movie? Has everybody's contract expired at this point? Like, where do things sit? So
Mhm.
I'm as curious as anybody. I'm as curious as
Mhm.
anybody, like what it would actually be. And then the question I posed earlier, like, what role does it fill? Where does it fit? And is
That's
the
true.
audience
It is.
there for it?
It
Well-
doesn't really fit. Yeah.
Did you think that they were maybe trying to push the envelope a bit with it when they signed on Quentin Tarantino to be a part of it? And do
Gimmick.
you think that may
Yeah.
have shifted some attitudes towards a fourth movie, because not everybody was favorable about it, but
Mhm.
when he left, it could have left a lingering taste in other people's mouths. You know,
That's an
I don't
interesting
know.
idea.
If
Because
they-
I always sort of wondered if the Quentin Tarantino thing, in my head anyway, was being treated as just a separate project.
That's what I
It's sort of-
felt, yeah.
Sort of like how there are multiple streaming properties that, yeah, they're all in the same universe, but they kind of occupy their own space.
Mhm.
And I just wondered if
Mhm.
Quentin's movie would have been a one-off. And I think that would have been fine. And I would
Yeah.
hope
Yeah.
Star Trek fans, although they're not very good at it sometimes, I would hope they could just welcome in this other interpretation and just say like, oh yeah, that's this other thing that exists that is
Mhm.
called Star Trek.
I love that.
Mhm.
You mean
I
Star
think
Trek
some of
fans
us are getting
don't
better
try
at
to-
it, but
I love
Okay,
the
yeah. You Star Trek
interpretation.
fans don't just try to like force everything to fit exactly, and if it
Oh,
doesn't,
boy.
then they abandon the whole property. No,
Well, then they
Send
rewatch.
death threats.
We've got a poll in the live chat, everybody. The question is,
oh, cool.
what is your favorite Kelvin movie? The 2009 movie, Into Darkness, or Beyond Meat? And that's going to be up for another minute or so. And if, it looks like we've got a winner. So we'll close out that poll. The answer is 22% of you said Into Darkness, 31% of you said the 2009 movie, and 45% of you said, give me that fake stuff. Beyond Meat is the best one.
I do like
Interesting.
Beyond Meat.
Me too.
Oh.
I like it better than
Mhm.
The
Impossible Burger.
hamburgers,
Mhm.
same.
Yeah.
And the sausages are pretty good too.
Except when they
Nice, yeah.
sit in the refrigerator section of the grocery store too long.
I forgot to tell you, a
Then-
friend of mine was one of the chemists who like made the Beyond flavor in
What?
the
Whoa.
burgers. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy I went to high school with.
Amazing.
I was like, what?
It's like
That's
lessons in
incredibly
chemistry.
cool.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I also like that you can actually read the ingredients on Beyond Burgers. You can't really do that with the Impossible.
Well, also, and I just want to preface this by saying I love Beyond Meat. I love Beyond Burgers. I'm a huge proponent of them. I like to eat them and purchase them and support them.
Are
However,
they sponsoring this? Have they just
There are-
signed on?
there are funny
They should.
pictures of what
Yes.
happens if they stay at the grocery store for a little while.
Oh no.
Linkage.
Holds it
Oh,
up
no.
his head. No, I don't see it again.
Oh dear.
So that's what.
That's just unfortunate. Wow.
So anyway,
Oh
if you're,
my.
everybody, if you're just listening
Oh
in,
my, is
it
right.
just looks it looks
Wow.
fine. It just looks a little weird.
Welcome
just
to
looks
Tuesdays.
It's
Oh,
like
oh
they
my
got
God, see,
dunked
I
into a
remember.
cold swimming pool. Ooh.
They're in the
Yes.
fridge. They're in the refrigerator aisle of the grocery store.
Wow.
Anyway, for freshness.
It tells me to stay away from the refrigerator section of the grocery store. I mean, come on.
Anyway,
Wow.
so that's it
Oh
on
my
that.
gosh.
Great PSA.
Incredible.
Anywho,
Yeah. So here's the question, you guys. If it were up to you, would you have the next movie in the theaters be Star Trek 4 with the Kelvin crew? Would you just say, you know what, get that Section 31 made for TV film and just put that in the theaters because it's going to be big and bad and cool?
Yes, and have an Oscar winner.
Other.
Ooh. Wow.
What's the downside to releasing things in theater and on streaming? It seems like a lot of movies do that now.
Yeah, that's wild because releasing a movie in the theaters now is very different from releasing even 5 years ago. Like, think about all these short run, like Fathom events and things that are only in a theater for a week, and then they're gone, but they're on streaming either simultaneously or, a week or two later. It kind of depends on the property. Like, I'm going to go see Napoleon this week because I feel like I want to see that on the big screen, but I'm also really glad it'll be on streaming in no time. So I can go back through and kind of, like freeze frame and kind of take my time with it.
Right.
I could see Section 31 doing that. Like, release it, make it a short run, get a few new eyeballs on it. Why not? And then look, we're all suckers who would pay to see it in a theater and maintain our Paramount Plus subscription.
We will watch every Star Trek movie in theaters. Star Trek fans, there's nothing that we're just gonna be like, nah, I'm gonna skip this one. No, we're gonna go. We're gonna grab our friends, we're gonna wear our shirts or more, and we're gonna go.
Do it. The Picard streamings and all of the screenings. We love to go and see them on the big screen. It's amazing. It's a fun trip.
I have to wonder though, if rewind back to 2016 and there is the plan, okay, we've got Discovery and then we'll have these other shows come out afterward. There'll be an animated show and there'll be some other live action show and another live action show. Did they think, okay, we'll let one of those run 5, 6, 7 years, and then that'll be ready to go to the big screen. And then we won't even have to think about the Kelvin cast anymore because we will have moved on to that. And if that's not the plan anymore, maybe Section 31 is the one that could break out and do it. I don't know.
Well, Section 31 is so sexy too. I feel like that really attracts an audience. They're all in like the black leather.
Right. Yeah.
But
there is
that
sort of
it feels like Section 31 isn't going to be big. Like it doesn't. This is just my impression. It feels like it's not going to be action. It's not going to have, it's not going to be as much of a theater summer blockbuster movie. It's more of the Star Trek thinker, and that's good because I don't need more Beastie Boys in Star Trek, so I'm okay with that. I don't know. What were you saying, Jenny?
Oh gosh. Oh no, it's gone. But I mean, they'll get Michelle Yeoh fighting, obviously, but they're not. It's not going to be like.
Good point.
Big ship chases and stuff. I would assume based on like the streaming budgets and all that stuff. But I don't know. I have no idea what I was going to say. It's gone.
Yes, I'm the wrong person to ask because I don't go to the movies to see anything with action. It's so boring. I go to see like Casablanca over and over and over, or like foreign films. So like I just don't. So like I think I don't know if I'm the target audience to be asking.
Yeah. Oh, but now I know it. Yeah.
I think it could be both. I mean, it doesn't have to be action packed, but I do think since Michelle has those martial arts skills, I think they would utilize that. They're still utilizing that in everything that she does, even including the movie she won an Oscar for. And she doesn't. It doesn't seem like she has any plans to slow down in that department. So
I think her involvement would be the only thing that would get it into the theater, though, because yes, it's Star Trek, but it's such a. I mean, it's a niche concept within Star Trek. Like, it's not. It's not what the traditional idea of what Star Trek is. So to say this is a new Star Trek movie, I don't know. It
also with so many like Jamie Lee Curtis tweeting about it and all these people. It would bring a whole new publicity. Machine.
And it would probably depend on who else is cast in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Besides,
I like I like the idea of a Strange New Worlds movie. I am a fan of Strange New Worlds, however,
interesting.
I will defeat my own argument by saying, like, okay, the positive is that here's a cast that is recognizably Star Trek. For the people who are not aware, and there are plenty of people who are just not aware of current Star Trek shows. And you say, oh, no, there's one that exists that looks like the Kirk and Spock that you remember. And the Enterprise looks like the Enterprise. Oh, I should go check that out somewhere.
And Rebecca Romaine's in it.
Right, exactly. But they still never find it. And I feel like it's still, Star Trek is a large niche, but it is a niche within a streaming platform that by definition, these streaming platforms other than Netflix are kind of niche, So there would be an opportunity there. However, now you have the problem that was the 2009 problem, which is you had a Star Trek cast already. Now you've got to get an audience to understand, oh, no, this is a new, different Star Trek cast, but it's still Star Trek. It's just a different timeline. Please come see our movie.
Yep.
Now you'd have to do that again with this cast, who I think would look great on the big screen. You could really build a story around them, but you then have to reintroduce them, and that would be a challenge as well. So,
which brings up another point. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Melissa. No. I was just going to say very quickly that you mentioned Netflix and you mentioned current Star Trek. Speaking of Netflix, I think that Prodigy might be the best show to make a movie in theaters.
That is what they want to.
I could definitely see that. And then they wouldn't need to explain it because it's for family, it's family friendly. Yeah. It's kind of a kid's show. It's kind of a holiday show. But what were you saying, Melissa?
Well, I was going to say that that's also a good argument for making Section 31 into a movie, because it could be a movie a la Rogue One, in that it is set in the Star Wars universe, but it's not the traditional Star Trek storyline or characters that we're following. Yeah. So it could work in the movie theater that way as well.
True. Very true.
All right. So we have an answer to our poll question. The question was, which would you prefer to see in theaters next? 25% said they'd want to see the fourth Kelvin movie. 33% said other. And 41% said Section 31.
Wow. Interesting.
I mentioned vote for that, but my finger slipped. So Section 31 was actually more.
What did you vote for by accident?
Whatever the other one was.
Other?
I said fourth Kelvin movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move forward, everybody. Because
Prodigy we also need merch, the other thing.
Merch.
I think Prodigy would be a great holiday release family movie, and people wouldn't really need to be explained what it was, because it would, they're kind of creating their own mold or their own little universe that they're doing.
That's true.
This is all why none of us is running a studio, because we would just be having this conversation all day long. But does that audience understand that? And it kind of reveals, then when you start playing with other people's hundreds of millions of dollars, you understand why it takes a while.
They don't need it.
Yeah.
Let's make it all.
Actually.
In that case, I would go with Prodigy, because they have a proven track record of making successful box office family things.
Yeah. Very true.
They're going to have a widening audience too with Netflix. Theoretically. So check this out, everybody. Here's the other news item of the day, and that is from trekmovie.com. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5 voice work resumes. Tawny Newsome tells us about recording return.
Let's just talk about this picture first. Woo, Tawny, girl.
That was quick.
Looking good.
So we're already recording voiceover for Season 5 of Lower Decks. I guess we should expect that, since we're assuming that Lower Decks Season 5 is going to be released maybe late summer or fall of next year, theoretically. So, but it still feels really quick. Or am I wrong there?
Well, I mean, the animated shows were not hobbled by the strike in the same way that the live action shows were. And here's a little bit of breaking news, a little reveal that we had in an episode of the Trek Files that we were recording today with Mike McMahon. It won't be out for like 6 weeks, I think. It'll be a little while. Wow. But he said that they were already at animatic stage for multiple of their episodes, and then moving to color. And I think he said that he was finishing up writing the finale. So they've cranked right along. I may have gotten some of the specifics on that wrong. So you'll just have to listen to the Trek Files with Mike McMahon when that comes out down the road.
In about 6 weeks.
At 3 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool because I guess, people who are in the Animators Guild, they could just keep working and get ahead a bit and then wait for their actors who are in SAG to be able to come back and record.
That's really exciting.
That's all great. And Melissa, you were very impressed with Tawny's outfit.
Well, just her whole look was really great. Her hair was nice and fluffy and poofy and gorgeous, and her smile was great. And you know,
it's pretty great.
She's kind of glowing in that picture, and that might be in post because they did put an aura around her. But yeah, she looks great in that picture.
Does
her eyebrows are on point.
Here's a quick quote, actually. Let's pull that up. This is from Tawny Newsome. She says, "We were recording a tiny bit before the strike, and then we just got started again. We're like somewhere in the middle. I've done like 4 or 5 episodes so far. Yeah, I love it. I'm so happy to be back doing these roles." Now, remember the caveat always with Tawny when I'm reading one of her quotes is, imagine that quote all said in like 3.5 seconds. That's how. And then that's about how it came out, probably.
Amazing.
So they're about midway through already. Oh, here's a bit more. This is Tawny as well saying, actually, for our first session back, our producer Brad Winters didn't tell us, but he scheduled me and Jack not only back to back, but he scheduled us to overlap. So I showed up to record at 1 o'clock, and really I wasn't recording till 2 o'clock. And Jack was in there finishing, nice. And we were like, my friend, I mean, we see each other all the time, but to see each other at work, it was such a joy. Don't tell the studio, but I think we did waste about 90 minutes in there just like catching up and gossiping and eating salads. But maybe they scheduled in some intentional buffer time.
Oh,
nice.
Buffer time. So cute.
She is such an amazing addition to this like community. And I mean the character of Mariner is so good, but it's just so great when one of the actors is just such a like force, you know. She's just amazing. Like,
and how wonderful that those characters are rendered to look like the actors, so we get something like that crossover show. Like, and you really feel their personalities in the animations. It's pretty magical. And I'm so glad that they're so far along with 5. And I know that Mike says that he has planned 8 seasons. Like that is his goal.
That's good to know.
And I hope they get there. I really do hope they get there.
They'll break the record then. Was that his reasoning? Was he just like, I don't care, I just got to be Voyager?
You know, I don't think he said it. This was a while back. I think it was on Mission Log Live once that he said that. And I think it was just like, no, that's the story I have in mind. Like that's how long it'll take to tell exactly what I'm going to tell. Nice. So I hope he gets there.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Well, speaking of time, everybody, check out this timeline that we've got. It shows a nice little graphic of what Mission Log and Mission Log Genealogy will be doing in the upcoming weeks and months. John, could you please explain to us what we're seeing here?
Yeah, that graphic is so good and logical because I didn't do it. Our technical wizard. It's so funny. Like we kept getting these like social media comments. So when are you guys coming back? When are you coming back? And Earl's like, hey, a lot of people are asking, I just did this. And of course it was perfect and beautiful. So thank you, Earl. Yeah, we had been recording just a little bit during the SAG strike. And as some people here know, we created a show that Earl had actually worked on years ago under a different title, but he really wanted to explore the early Gene Roddenberry works all the way back to the very first script that he had written. So Genealogy became that show. And it's just going right through everything that Gene ever wrote leading up to Star Trek. And then we'll hit a point where we hit the post Star Trek Gene Roddenberry scripts and stories. And for right now, we're going to overlap a little bit. So this Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, we're going to break our tradition and actually release a show on Thanksgiving Day. That'll be Mission Log's Return with the Voyager episode Revulsion. You will definitely get to hear me on my soapbox for that one. So feel free to tune in. And then we'll move Genealogy to Monday nights, and that'll just overlap through December. So Genealogy Mondays, Mission Log Thursdays, and that gives us a little bit of time then to move Genealogy in the new year over to its own feed. And that'll happen, that'll happen early on. And that show is just really special because Rod is so behind it, even though we know that we're going after this diminishing slice of a slice of a slice. You know, there are people who listen to podcasts. And within that, there are people who are into Star Trek. And within that, there are people who actually listen to Star Trek podcasts. And within that, there are people who actually are interested in other things that Gene Roddenberry did. And Rod really sees the value in creating this archival discussion of shows, most of them that you can't watch anymore, either because they just don't exist, or they're in private collections, or they're not streaming, or whatever. And we've really had this incredible moments of discovery to find things that Gene worked on that nobody knew. We got to rewrite a bit of history. So for an upcoming show, we started out with Mr. District Attorney. Then we did some of the Playhouse, like one-off shows that he did. Now we're doing Highway Patrol, which was a short run. He had a short run on that series, like 4 or 6 episodes. But we will eventually hit a show that came out in 1961 called Wrangler. And it was the first Western shot on videotape. And the thing that is lost to history is that it's actually the first show that Gene created that he sold. Everybody thinks it's Lieutenant. Right. But the show Wrangler was actually it. And the reason that most people don't know that is because you can't watch it anywhere. There are an episode or 2 that exist in the UCLA library, and that's it. Wow. Because at the time, 1961, the show got yanked off the airwaves after 6 or 8 episodes. And videotape was so expensive, you had to reuse it. So these shows got wiped out. And that closing credit created by Gene Roddenberry was just sort of lost to the ether for 60 years. So that'll be cool when we roll around to that one in the coming months, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So I hope people stick around and listen to that. And I say we, I mean, really Earl and Norman, who have really just been incredibly detailed in that show, connecting the dots to the themes and ideas that show up in Star Trek later on.
Oh, cool.
Wow. We have people who are influential in his life later on, who he first brushes up against. It's just amazing.
Yeah, Ricardo Montalban for one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then these names.
Podcast.
Yeah, and these names that keep recurring, like Riker and Pike.
Nice.
They just they're in their earliest scripts, and then they keep showing up throughout.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we do have breaking news. Somebody in the live chat, somebody vulgar by the name of the Profanity, says Genealogy is a fantastic podcast. If you aren't listening yet, you're missing out.
Wow. Well, thank you for saying that without profanity. Oh, profane
This
one.
time.
And yes, yeah. Very cool. That, of course, is Shar, who is co-host on Mission Log Prodigy with Norman. And that will be coming back, of course, as well when Prodigy comes back.
Shar,
yeah.
do you agree with me that they should make a Prodigy movie in theaters that ahead of everything else? Just stop everything else, make a Prodigy movie, comes out like next December or 2 Decembers from now, blows all the kids away, creates a new, and I don't mean maybe explosions, I don't know. And then it creates a whole new generation of Star Trek fans. They can all feed us baby food and put us in front of Star Trek when we're old and gray.
Yeah.
And change our diapers.
Diapers.
Diapers. Very good. I hope you also say diamond when you're talking about precious jewels.
I should.
Yeah.
Well, look, John, we only have you for another minute, but we really appreciate you jumping on with us. Is there anything else you'd like to toss out our way or plug before you go? Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, please find us at, first and foremost, at podcast.roddenberry.com, because if you go there, you'll see every show and then every way to connect with those shows, whether it's social media or Apple or Spotify or however you enjoy your podcast. So podcast.roddenberry.com is the place to go. For me, and I don't know why you'd want to find me, but if you want to, then you can track me down on Twitter at DVD Geeks. You can track me down on Instagram at jchamp72, or just look for the guy popping the champagne bottle on Facebook, and that will be me. Yeah, there are shows right there. Now,
Bonnie's here.
Oh yeah, Bonnie did an episode of Fanatics, so yeah, she is awesome, of course.
And there's Shar and Aaron.
Yeah, Norm, yeah. So I'm thrilled that Prodigy will be coming back. Of course, it's great that the show's coming back, and then it's great that our Mission Log coverage of it is coming back. My favorite thing is that parents record their kids talking about the show. And it's adorable. Our youngest listener is 3. He was 3. Now he's 4. And our oldest is about 12. So and they always answer the same set of questions, including their favorite scene and what they learned in the Mission Log tradition.
It's the cutest part about Mission Log Prodigy.
It's adorable. It is absolutely the best. So Mission Log Prodigy will be back. Mission Log the Orville hopefully will be back, although we have some tinkering that we're doing with that feed, so stay tuned for that. And then Mission Log Live, we will ramp up again when there's an announcement about Disco, which I imagine is the next Star Trek show coming back after the holidays. So when that happens, we'll ramp it up. Radio. Yeah, see, and then you get to do this. You get to do what I'm doing here with you guys, call in and we chat.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks very much, John. We really appreciate you joining in with us, and everybody at home. Make sure you find J Champ, or the guy with the champagne. The champ could be.
It's my favorite.
Champion or champagne.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little, animated little bit, the champagne pie. It's great. It's one of my favorite things. So anyway, but thank you. Thank you so much for letting me come on. I adore you all. And let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. We adore you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Well, cheers. Have a great show. Please talk about me while I'm gone. All right.
We will.
All right. Cheers, everybody. And that too. All right. Good night.
All right. So it's funny because I had something I wanted to say right 10 seconds ago, but then I just started picturing the champagne.
And then I just wanted champagne.
And then I got lost. Maybe it was Prodigy related. Anyway, okay. So that's really cool. Everybody go check all that good stuff out, and the rest of that Trek movie article as well. Genealogy was such a great idea. Really good and smart.
And great title.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So along the lines of Lower Decks, this was also covered on collider.com. Just a little bit more here. Check this out. because Collider doesn't get enough love. And you know why Collider doesn't get enough love? Because they don't give Star Trek enough love. If they covered Star Trek more, we would cover them more.
Actually, no, they are one of the biggest writers about Star Trek, and everybody uses their articles as a source.
This is like the first time I've seen. We
love Collider frosting.
They need to step. Hey, Screen Rant does 49 like articles a week. Screen Rant does 40.
We love Collider.
Does Collider do 49 articles a week?
They do very good quality articles, I will say.
Okay, we're down with that.
Okay.
Good point. That's great. We love Collider. So everybody check that out. This is also great coverage by them. I'll give you a little bit on that. Quality and quantity. We like both. Star Trek Lower Decks recently capped off its 4th season with an epic finale featuring beloved guest stars, an emotional tribute, and huge character moments for all of our favorite lower deckers. With SAG-AFTRA securing a deal and bringing an end to strikes, I was able to speak to series star Tawny Newsome about Mariner's amazing season 4 arc, and she was even able to tease a little bit of what we can expect to see in season 5. There she is right there. Here's the quote. We just got back in the room and started recording those, and she teased that we'd be seeing a more joyful Mariner now that the weight of her history with Cedo has been lifted. She also says, it's so interesting to hear what Mike has said, because I'm like, I believe you, but I don't remember. I'm sure there's joy. Yeah, I feel like there's joy. I'm trying to remember anything specific. She went on to explain that for her, there's a new maturity to Mariner, but not to worry. She's still, quote, still an element of chaos on the bridge. All right. So that's fun stuff by collider.com. Awesome. Plenty more to check out with that. Lastly, on Lower Decks, CBR.com. This one's also interesting. CBR.com says, and what is that, like comic book reviewer or something like that?
Yeah, they're actually owned by Paramount. So oftentimes they have great scoops.
So this one says, this forgotten Star Trek species is perfect for Lower Decks. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I didn't look at what the species is.
Oh.
Do you guys have any guesses?
I looked it.
Okay.
If it's what I remember reading about, then I think I know what it is.
Everybody in the live chat, make your guesses. Okay, so what's our hint? This forgotten Star Trek species is perfect for Lower Decks. I don't know.
Some have forgotten. Some have not forgotten.
It's one of your favorites.
Oh, Bolians. Bolian cubes.
Wait.
That's benzite.
That's
a benzite. But we like both because both start with a B. They're both introduced in TNG and they're both blue.
Yes.
Oh my god. Wait,
but we've seen
I know the difference.
We've seen Bolians in Lower Decks, haven't we? I remember it's Vendom is his name, right?
Yeah, but they've been mostly background, if I remember correctly. We haven't really seen a lot of them. And from the articles that I read, that we've kind of delved in a bit more through Lower Decks in the Orions and other species, and they are saying Bolians would be perfect.
Yeah, we still don't know anything about Bolians.
And we really should. Well, actually, I know a little something about them because I read a book on them way back in the day, or it was a Star Trek book that included some background on Bolians. It wasn't a Bolian book. I don't remember what it was, but they are apparently aquatic. And one of the games or the things they like to do is they like to battle underwater to like show dominance, like holding each other down. It's kind of like this is really a thing, if I remember correctly. Yeah, like they're wrestling to see who could be on top of whom in
Wrestling?
the water. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I mean, this was a long time ago that I read this, but I just remember that image of Bolians wrestling around in the water. Maybe, you know, actually, I think they wrestle in cream of wheat now that I think about it.
Wow.
There you go.
Oh gosh, that would
There
be
you go.
messy. That would be messy.
Yeah,
You
but
dry like
delicious.
cement.
Yeah. And things getting in places that shouldn't
Oh,
go.
God.
Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're wearing like bathing suits when they do it, you guys.
But still, girls have been at the beach and sand gets everywhere, even with bathing suits on. Anyway,
who was the guy who is the old that old comedian, not Don Knotts, but the old guy who's like, I got sand in places I didn't know I had places.
Rickles?
Somebody in the live chat, not I used to call him Don Wrinkles. Bob Hope. That's his name. Bob Hope.
Oh.
In fact, when I used to work on Days of Our Lives, it was on Bob Hope Drive. I used to always exit Bob Hope Drive and park there.
You were on Days of Our Lives?
There's a park around there, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Park.
Ryan.
Yeah. It had a soap opera face, I guess.
That's awesome.
But you know what other alien would be great in Lower Decks?
What?
Kazons. Oh wait, well, we've seen Kazon in Prodigy.
Hang on.
Sneeze.
Galamite.
Oh yes, you're so right, with the transparent head.
Skull, yes.
Brilliant.
They could finally like make it happen. That's awesome.
We could actually see Captain Baudet, because isn't he around in that era?
Yes.
Too?
You know it would be great? Yes, I think that is a brilliant idea, and I hope they're doing it. And if they're not, I hope they see this and then do it. But what about if we can actually see what's on their mind? You know how like in cartoons we have like thought bubbles? What if they have like thought bubbles in their head where it's like you're seeing their head, and then it's just like inside the head you see mac and cheese, and then they go, I want mac and cheese, and you're like, I knew you did. I saw your thought just now.
Be awesome. Although sad.
That could get you in trouble too.
Yes, it could.
Hi, Jadzia.
Yeah, Dax. Yeah.
You see, Anne Marie, because when he saw Jadzia,
I got it.
Okay.
Oh, back of the head.
Yay! Speaking of heads.
Yep.
Your ears were ringing.
Look, and speaking of that, actually, that is right on cue for, he wrote this one. John Orchiola actually wrote our next article on screenrant.com. Man, we should do like wrestling Wednesday.
Wrestling.
Yeah. Wrestling. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
With glitter and lycra.
Well, no, then we like can show you what when the guys do the power bomb and they go like this, and then they lift them and they're just, and then there was the one that Petey Williams used to do, the definition of definition, the, whatever that guy, he would do I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, all the finishing moves. Yeah, like sweet chin music.
Yes, that's the one. They would always make sure to finish the guy off with that, on the chin thing.
What was the Undertaker's? What was that called?
Tombstone pile driver.
Tombstone, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think he also had a submission hold that I don't remember what it was too for a while. Anyway. Look, the point is, no, it's not wrestling, you guys. It's Star Trek. Star Trek should release Strange New Worlds Season 3 in 2 parts. Now, remember, this was written days ago and conceptualized before we mentioned it back in Star Trek and Chill. Everybody know that. This was his own creation. That is a certainty. This is great color on this picture, too, by the way.
Good grief. I was like, are his eyes always that blue?
That's amazing. Anyway, so 5 parts or 2 parts. What do you think? Is there reasoning behind this? Let's see. Let's open this up and find out. So it reads, Paramount Plus should release Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 in 2 parts. Now that the SAG-AFTRA strike is over, production on the long-delayed Strange New Worlds Season 3 is ramping up in Toronto. Strange New Worlds was about to start filming the 10-episode Season 3 in May for a potential 2024 release when the Writers Guild of America went on strike, followed by the actors joining the picket lines in July. Strange New Worlds Season 3 filming is now expected to start in December and continue into July 2024. I believe that's new information. No, we knew that, right?
Mm-hmm.
July 2024. Okay, so let's see if there's more to this. I want to know why. Oh, he says it makes sense because Strange New Worlds is episodic. So he continues.
This is an article that he wrote after we talked about it on the show on Friday. Like he says that he wrote it before we talked about it. So we've already talked about it.
Yes. He says, even if post-production isn't finished on all of Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3's episodes, the first 5 episodes should be released as soon as possible, preferably in mid to late 2024. Paramount Plus has the final season of Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5 on its 2024 schedule, but the streamer will lack Star Trek content for the final months of the year. The first half of Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3's episodes can be conceivably completed and released by fall of 2024, right? That's what we were hoping for. This would solve 2 big problems by giving Paramount Plus new episodes of what's arguably its most popular Star Trek series to showcase, and it would give the fans what they want, the conclusion of Strange New Worlds Season 2 cliffhanger, right?
Right.
That's true. I didn't take that into account.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? We did discuss this a little bit, but what do you think? Wait and watch them all in succession, or give us 5 and then 5 more later?
I say 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Why not?
Like, I want to be greedy, but I also want there to be Star Trek for everyone all the time. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's just me.
I think I'd like it 5 and 5 just because I think overall it's going to be better for the streaming platform, and I want the streaming platform to just do well. Maybe I'm a corporatist. Just kidding. I don't even know what that word means. It just made me feel like if I say, what, Amory, you know what it means. What does it mean?
I mean, like corporatist. Is that a word? I don't know.
I know it exists. It came out of my mouth because I was like, I want the corporate to do well. Let's find out.
Let's
This is that makes sense because you've got if it's doing well, people are watching, people are subscribing. I didn't think it was a word.
No, I'm definitely not that. It says a person who
corpses.
A person who advocates for the control of a state or organization by large interest groups. No, I'm definitely not that. I just meant I want what's good for the corporation. What's that? What's a fan? That's what I am.
You want what's good for Star Trek. You don't want what's necessarily good for like.
How is that a word?
CEOs. It's
Control of a state by then. Geez. That sounds like something that War Dogheim could lecture us on. He'd be like, no, Ryan, smoking a cigar. You don't want to be a corporatist. And let me tell you why. These damn corporatists are trying to take over our country. He knows. Anyway, I do think that 5 and 5 is maybe a better format because it will theoretically prevent people from canceling their subscription, which gives them more money, which allows them to have more shows, which gives us more enjoyment. In theory.
There's another issue too, which is that if you're a Star Trek fan, it's very hard to cancel Paramount now, because even if there's not new Star Trek, like unless you have every single DVD, you can't like watch it anywhere else. So I'm sure I'm not the only one who's run into that problem.
I just want to see if War Dogheim has replied.
I've got this. I've got this friend, but I actually also have. I have the TNG DVDs. And I've got all the movies. I've got So I've got some, but I've got a couple of like.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I still have a bunch of VHS. I've got some old VHS tapes somewhere too, of episodes.
So many.
Back when you had to spend $19.99 to buy an episode.
I'm like,
oh my God,
back
right.
when I didn't know how to write generation. It's like misspelled on a label on a VHS for me taping them off.
So cute.
War Dogheim does say, that's me for sure. Okay. So here's the next item up for bid, everybody. This is from a website called StarTrek.com.
Ooh, sounds authoritative.
Wait, I don't think
Give
that's
authoritative source, right?
No,
not authoritarian.
Authoritative, kind of like authoritarian too. We're using big words today. All right. Here we go. Authoritarian, StarTrek.com. It says, Star Trek episodes that have us thankful. After all, family has always been a core theme of Star Trek. You see, Jenny R. Johnson, at this time of year, we like to give thanks. We like to acknowledge the things for which we are thankful. Don't you guys have Thanksgiving like in October?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We do it like way before Christmas, so then there's like some space to like get some stuff done and be
smart.
So it's not really the kickoff to the Christmas season. Yeah. So we do it too, just not quite the way you guys do, because you guys like really do it. Like we have a meal. But you guys are like traveling and like,
Yeah, I'm not a big Thanksgiving guy.
It's one of my favorite days.
That's lovely. That's very, very nice.
I just never really.
My favorite. Pumpkin pie.
Because I grew up not eating meat at all. Like we never ate meat, so we never had. Yeah. So like we never did turkey, or ham or anything.
What
so
did you do instead of a turkey?
We didn't really. We just had dinner. Like we've had Mexican food for Christmas dinner my whole life.
That's
Like
awesome.
I know. I am aware. Yeah.
That's
so I don't know. And then
cool.
sometimes we would just, if it was going to be vegetarian, we did try to do like a Thanksgiving type thing. It would just be all sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great.
I just like to fill up on mashed potatoes. Although my parents became vegetarian when I was like 12 or 11 or something. So one year, all of a sudden, there was no turkey. There was a stuffed pumpkin.
Ooh, was it good?
Well,
your face says otherwise.
I was like, what this looks like compost, bro. It looked like compost. There was just a pumpkin and compost. And there was like rice granules or beans. And I was like, what the crap man, I did not start puberty just to start eating stuffed pumpkins. Let me tell you, I didn't really say that, but if I did, that would have turned them around real well. But anyway, now I don't mind the stuffed pumpkin.
Vegetarian cooking has come a long way.
It really has.
Yeah.
I grew up in a house of carnivores. And let me tell you, that's interesting at the holidays. Christmas is fun.
Anyway, I love Christmas though.
I'm
a fiend for that. Anyway, so back to work, everybody. Okay. The point is, this is what we are thankful for. These episodes, according to StarTrek.com, the first one being Journey to Babel or Babel, depending on how you pronounce it, from the original series. Here is the lady with the funny hair.
I forgot her from the Laffy Awards.
Spock is unimpressed.
At his mom.
Oh God, that's Amanda Grayson. Jeez. Anyway,
she's amazing.
The next one is Family from the Next Generation. Remember that one?
That bread looks amazing.
Oh my God.
It does.
Like literally looking at this picture makes me want to cry. I love that episode so much.
Well, and it's soup and bread, and I want to dunk.
Do it.
Yeah. Yum.
And wine.
Man, I'm like tearing up just looking at the episode.
I know, right?
What happens to them?
Aww.
So sad. So sad.
The next one is Cost of Living.
Oh,
the next gen.
the
Oh boy,
greater
Alexander
the
episode.
fewer. The heart. What is it?
The higher
the fewer.
Yeah. That episode's actually like kind of grown on me over the years. Yeah, again.
Yeah, she was great with Alexander in this episode.
Yeah.
Was that the one in the mud bath?
Yes.
Baby.
See, I didn't see when I was a kid. I may change my mind. We're going through them on the 7th rule. We're now finishing up season 2, so we'll get to this eventually about how bad of a father Worf is. But I remember when I was a kid, I was like, I don't care about Loxana. I don't care about baby Alexander. I just want to see, aliens, and I want to see Worf do stuff and Picard say no,
We all watch Star Trek for different reasons.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, like when I was younger, that episode wasn't my jam, really.
So
I don't think I saw it when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw it more recently, and they were really cute in the bath.
Yeah.
She was very patient with him.
Yeah.
And then Worf ended up in the mud bath too.
Mhm.
But
that
then there was
so good.
Then there was also the episode where an empty crate falls on Worf's back, and we're supposed to believe that he's going to be paralyzed.
That was a heavy barrel, Ryan, and he did
Yes.
get paralyzed.
Yes.
Barrels are dangerous.
I 1000% believed it.
Yes.
Really?
Saw
And it
Jenny
shows
stamp her
Like
foot.
you're such a great friend.
The way it bounced, even when I was getting the way it bounced off, I was like, that didn't hurt. He's fine.
Can you imagine how it would feel to have a bazillion pound barrel bounce off your back, Ryan?
You may
hit
find
him in
this
a certain way.
surprising, but no, I don't know what it would feel like to have a bazillion pounds on me. I don't even understand what that means.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Maybe it's a weak point in a Klingon's back for some reason, or he had like a congenital deformity.
I think that's a weak
Yeah.
point, Anne-Marie.
Or maybe he sneezed at the same time as it was hitting him, and then it went.
Slip disc. But then wasn't he like paralyzed for life? And then
Yes.
Crusher was like, well, if I try this experimental new technology, and if we all believe really hard, is that
That's
what
not
it was?
how it happened. We'll get to it. It's so
Good Lord.
I
Ryan.
love that episode and its medical
Mhm.
Ray
effects.
Powell says that episode made me cry.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Read
The
the
first time
whole
I
thing.
saw that, I was like,
Read the whole thing. Faith House said that episode made me cry. Parenthetically, she put because it was so bad. You have to read the whole comment.
no, it's all the ethical stuff, Ryan. It's a great episode.
Yes.
No, you guys are right, I'm sure. And when I see it again, I'll be like, I mean, a lot of these, when I'm seeing them again, I'm like, these are actually really good. When I was a
Mhm.
kid, I just, wanted stupid stuff because I was a stupid kid. But now I'm less, I don't know. Never mind. Let's move on.
Aw.
So the next one is The Abandoned. Deep Space. Oh, Jake.
And Marta.
Yeah. That's cute. Okay. The Dabo
Yeah.
girl Marta. We remember that one.
And
Mhm.
the episode where they find the little Jem'Hadar baby,
Oh, right.
and it makes Benjamin miss Jake as a little wee one too.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the next one, an amazing one. Take Me Out to the Hollow Suite.
The best.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
That's a great
Somebody knows
picture.
that song.
It is a great picture.
Everyone knows that song.
Yes.
All right.
Oh
Homestead
my
by
God.
Voyager. Ew.
Gosh, and he likes his band or too much dance.
I know, just little feet.
It's just like I cry every time. It's one of the sweetest moments
I know.
in the whole Star Trek.
You know
I
which
knew this was gonna make me
episode?
cry.
And that's First Contact Day, which is why I always eat pierogi on First Contact Day.
Oh, cute.
Oh, I love that.
You know which episode of Star Trek made me cry?
What?
None, ever. All right.
Really?
Here's the next one. Oh,
Come
yeah.
on.
We'll get you.
I even tried by watching The Inner Light again. I was like, okay, everybody says this is like the best one. And so I watched it and I was like even trying to cry. I was like,
It's gonna creep up on you when you
And it didn't
even
work.
the
God, yeah.
Visitor?
oh, no. The one that did get me misty-eyed, and I'm not sure if it was dust, but I think it was because the timing, I think it was the episode. It was that freaking montage at the
Oh.
final final
Yes.
Deep Space Nine episode, What You Leave Behind, when dude picks up the toy and it sends them into this I was like, oh my God, I'm a mess. I'm just falling, because it also brought me all the memories of our podcast that we did on the
Mhm.
Seventh Rule for 3.5 years. Each one of those scenes wasn't just a scene of Deep Space Nine. It was also a memory attached
You're
to
gonna
the
make
last
me cry.
3.5 years. And so it was like, it had like a double meaning because every one of those scenes was also a moment that we had shared, as a group, right? Melissa, you get it.
Yeah, I bawl every time, and I'm getting misty-eyed right now. You talking about it because
I
it's
know.
awesome.
Yeah, so that was beautifully done. That was.
Mhm.
But the Inner Light, we'll see. Are there more of these? That might have worked on Jenny too. Silent Enemy from Enterprise. Which was this?
Yeah.
Oh, the cake.
The cake.
Was it carrot cake?
Pineapple.
Pineapple, that's right. I know it's something weird.
Carrot cake.
Yeah,
There
we
are
know
so
why.
many. Oh, sorry.
We know
go
why
ahead.
he likes pineapple. Anyway.
We just learned that at SPLB.
Then there's Nepenthe from Picard. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Such a sweet episode.
Oh my God.
When they have their arms around each other sitting on the dock, Picard and Riker.
Oh my, yeah. One of my favorite moments from that episode is when Picard when it first goes to Riker in the kitchen and Kestra's yelling to him and he's like, stop yelling,
Mhm.
and it's just such a like great like organic moment. I say that to my cat all the time now.
The next one is Perpetual Infinity on Discovery. So
Yeah.
Gabrielle, that was her name. Then there was The Sound of Thunder.
Oh wow,
on
yeah.
Discovery. Oh, what's her name?
Sarana, right?
Sarana, that's right. Sarana by Hannah Spear.
boots.
Hannah Spear plays her.
Yeah. Look at those boots.
Forget Me Not. Boy, Discovery's got a lot of these.
I know.
Oh, there's none.
Wait, didn't the scene end in like such a big fight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But the intent was there to bring them all together as a family.
Yeah. And I think that was the last one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Those were fun.
There are so many episodes that make me cry now. Like so many.
TNG too. When you
Oh my
watch it your
God.
whole life, sometimes
Yes.
it triggers like a memory or a moment from like childhood. You're like, oh, that was such a wonderful night, or like time in life. And so there's like, especially TNG with all this nostalgia surrounding it, like, oh, so good. Some like early Deep Space Nine, early Voyager.
Yeah. It's so good. And like knowing what's gonna happen. you know, so you see like, oh,
Yes.
oh my God. What you got
Well,
there, Ryan?
we've got an update on the 2024 Lappy Awards. While we're pulling up that update, though, everybody, has anybody guessed what the theme for Virtual TrekCon 5 will be yet? Here's your hint again. And by hint, I mean this is the main graphic. So what is the theme for Virtual TrekCon 5? What is the theme? The graphic made by our good friend Mr. Matt Boardman, by the way. So if there's something you don't like, tell him. Just kidding. I'm sure you love it.
No, it's
great.
Awesome.
Super talented. Okay.
What I don't like is that I can't figure out what the theme is. I mean, those are like there's a lot of like landmark kind of like famous things in there.
That's also true. Okay, so Anne-Marie, do you want to give people an update on the Lappy Awards, where we stand currently?
Okay, currently we stand with, I believe, 6 categories are open for preliminary polls in the Virtual TrekCon Facebook group, and it's 7, and it's anybody's game right now. So make sure you're voting in all of them. I think the category that's favorite episode of all of 2023, that one you can actually vote for 5 times. The rest
I'm very glad to see that.
Me too.
Right.
Especially because I saw somebody start voting more than 3, and I was like, I hope it's a 5 one. I don't want to take away anybody's vote.
Well, because there are just so many good ones that it would be horrible to force people to only pick 3. So 5, I feel like, is fair. Then you can pick 1 Lower Decks, 1 Strange New Worlds, 1 Picard. You can even pick 1 very short Trek, and then you can have a wild card in there. Whoever deserves that extra bonus one.
And currently all the polls are about new Star Trek that is just 2023. Sorry. So it has to actually have taken place in one of those episodes. And then one of the categories is just Lower Decks, the funniest episode of Lower Decks, which, I mean, some of these are still, it's anybody's game, and your vote matters. So make sure you're voting, make sure you're sharing, because if you have a favorite or you have the least favorite that you don't want to win, you can share it to groups that you think people will get people like voting on your side or not voting on your side.
For example, if you are voting on best episode and you really want Picard to win some of these or all of these, or get, the finalists, share it in the Picard group. Share it in a Picard Facebook group. If you want Lower Decks, share it in the Lower Decks. I mean, obviously share them everywhere, but there's nothing wrong with sharing it with your pals and hoping that your pals will vote the same way as you do. Here are the 7 that, and by the way, these all went up over the weekend. They are going until 11:59 p.m. this Friday night, and then the polls will close, and we will have the finalists moving on to the final voting in December for the 2024 Lappy Awards, and then we will open up the final few categories, which is the Universe division. Universe is all TV shows, all movies, new and old, everything. So that should be a lot of fun. But before we do any of that, we've got these 7. You can vote for it in the Virtual TrekCon Facebook group. Just go to facebook.com. You may have heard of it. Type in Virtual TrekCon. Go into the group. They're all in there. The finalists will all move on. Those will be on a Google form. So if you don't have Facebook, no worries. You can still vote on all the finalists. You can vote for the winners for everything. So here we have, let's see, where are we? We've got these 7. The best new episode of 2023, we covered that. Which is the funniest episode of Lower Decks season 4? So that's pretty self-explanatory. You got 10 options there. It's going to be narrowed down to 4. Then we've got the biggest wow moment of 2023. That could be the biggest shock, the biggest scare, the saddest death, the most interesting plot twist. It could be a cool ship battle, anything like that. We also have the most interesting new character introduced in 2023. Here's the important part with that. Has to be somebody we've never seen before. So you don't want to say Scotty was just introduced at the very end of season 2 of Strange New Worlds. No, he wasn't. We know him from before. From the original series, animated series, Next Generation, and 7 movies. So, sorry, 10 movies, because also Kelvin. That's a lot of stuff. So anyway, it's got to be somebody that was just introduced for the first time. Like, let's see if I could pull these guys up. Obviously, like Pelia, Jack Crusher, Sidney LaForge, Captain Shaw. We have Swale Swalens is not getting enough votes. Everybody go get Swale Swalens some love from the Tuvix episode. You have De'Erica Tendi, of course. Parth. We've got T'Pril and Sevet. That's T'Pring's parents. Anyway, you get the idea. Anton Chekhov. We just heard his voice, but he was still introduced. That's a new character. Then we've got funniest moment of 2023. Self-explanatory. I hope it's not when Riker and Beverly see the Bug planet. Remember in the very short trek, Melissa? Do you remember that one?
The Bug. Gotcha.
Just started looking around, and everything that they were touching had stuff on it, and they were like leaning on it.
There was licking
and they were
going on.
Food. That's the grossest.
Ew.
Yeah. Anyway,
I forgot I voted for Kevin, Peanut Hamper's dad, for best new character.
Oh, I would too. Honestly, so if I voted, funny. I would too. Then the last 2 are best antagonist of 2023. Any antagonist.
It's the funniest entry.
And the last one is most exciting moment of 2023. That's the one that puts you at the edge of your seat. It could be an explosion. It could be a battle or a fight scene. It could be somebody showing up that you didn't expect. You're just whatever made your heart race. It could be like for Melissa when they land on the Snot planet, Riker and Beverly, and they're touching stuff and they're handing them food with stuff in it.
No thanks.
I wonder if that food is served cold or
Ew.
Like warm. If it's fresh, I guess it's probably warm. But anyway.
I don't know what's worse.
I know. I don't know which is worse.
Yeah, that actually made me react.
It made me react too.
Anyway.
Oy.
So you have a few more days. Be sure to vote on those. We have a very jam-packed week to talk about, everybody. So let's talk about it. Starting with yesterday on the 7th Rule YouTube channel, we released our full review of Samaritan Snare with writer-producer Robert McCullough. He answers all your questions about the pack leads. You didn't know you had questions, did you? You do, and he answers all of them.
Does he answer what kind of sandwiches they're eating in the shuttle? Because I've always been curious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is a good question.
Little finger sandwiches.
I always imagined them cucumber.
Sorry.
Well,
derailing.
When I saw it, I imagined they were cucumber. But
that's weird.
Cucumber egg salad. I know.
So
Voyager.
Then on Wednesday, tomorrow Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time, go to the Falling Tower YouTube channel because we are continuing 80s sitcom month with Who's the Boss? Who's the Boss? Finally, we are reviewing the 80s sitcom Who's the boss? Angela. And then, remember, he always called her Angela and Mona, Samantha.
Yeah.
So that's at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time on the Falling Tower YouTube channel with very special guest, Back of the Head, joining us. Finally, John Orfiola joins myself and Dr. Noor. Then, right after that, do not collect $200. What am I talking about? If you can, collect $200 and then go to the Sci-Fi Sisters YouTube channel. Myself, Sirach Lofton, Chase Masterson will be there. It's going to be a party. Why? Well, Chase is going to be raising a lot of money, hopefully for her charity, because it's very important. So please go to that right afterwards, the Sci-Fi Sisters YouTube channel on Wednesday night. Then on Thursday night, I think we're going to have a nice little featurette on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. Is that right, Melissa Longo?
Oh, yeah. Duet review.
A duet featurette with Nana Visitor. Should be really fun.
Awesome.
Edited by Melissa Longo. I haven't even seen it. It's going to be a surprise to me too. We'll all watch it together. So be sure to check that out. Then on Friday, come right back to that's at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. Friday, come right back here. Man, get your shopping done early, everybody, because you want to be home at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time for a very, very special episode of Star Trek and Chill. The most special episode we've ever had. We've got the Hallmark Channel's own director, John Putch, joining us, who directed a very Biltmore Christmas. A Biltmore Christmas on the because if there's one thing we love more than Star Trek, it's the Hallmark Channel, and it's a very special
Sabrina What Does
holiday movie that's opening this weekend with actors such as Jonathan Frakes, actors such as Robert Picardo, director such as John Putch, who played this guy, Mordock, the Benzite. He also played Mendon. That's right. Mordock is directing Riker and the EMH doctor in a Hallmark holiday special movie.
And he was in an episode of All in the Family because his mom was Edith Bunker. It's amazing.
Exactly.
What? Yes. It's crazy. He's like royalty.
Okay.
So everybody,
Maureen Stapleton is his mother.
Yeah, Gene Stapleton. Yeah.
Gene, or who the hell's Maureen?
Do you remember Templeton on Charlotte's Web?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lind. Who doesn't? He's the best.
Fair.
I want to go to a smorgasbord.
Yeah. Anyway, so if that weren't enough, right now there are two people in the live chat going, yeah, that's pretty cool, but that's only like 3 major Star Trek actors and, one really cool, whatever. Well, right after that, still on Star Trek and Chill, we will be joined by the awesome Star Trek themed rock and roll band, the Roddenberries, will be joining us because they have huge announcements to tell everybody. This is going to be the biggest holiday special of your life.
Amazing. It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas, only Star Trek style.
Yes.
Yep. Do you know who is a PA on Pee-wee's Playhouse? That's a production assistant. Rob Zombie of White Zombie. So that's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Really?
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Huh. That clock.
So check that out. We're gonna have so many surprises. We're gonna give away prizes. We're gonna be handing money out to people. You're not gonna want to miss this. That is this Friday, Black Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Virtual TrekCon YouTube channel. Then on Sunday, everybody go to the Seventh Rule YouTube channel at 9 a.m. Pacific. That's 12 p.m. Eastern time for our first segment review of, boy, this weekend just keeps getting better, the greatest episode in the history of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Does everybody know what that is?
Yes, Shades of Grey.
Shades of Grey. Shades of Grey, the best, maybe the best Star Trek episode ever, but definitely best TNG episode. Something's got me.
Good.
Check that out. We have a great guest joining us, if that wasn't enough, Mr. Eric Stillwell, who worked as a production assistant, then later a production associate in Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. He was a script coordinator as well in Voyager. So he joins us. He's the guy that put together all those great clips. You're going to love it. Don't miss it. That's on Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Then right after that, we're going to have a special bit of programming on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. Right after that, it is going to be two fellas. Both of their last names are Delancey. So check that out. We've got them joining us on the Seventh Rule for a moment. You may enjoy that. You may know who that is.
Amazing.
I think that's it.
That's all. That's an epic week.
Well done.
All right.
Well done, y'all.
That is it. I was trying to remember. Is that everything? I think that's everything. We will see all of y'all soon. Thank you, War Dogheim, Chris Marshall, one Trek fan, BL, Zanzis Primo 702, Glenn Iverson, John Davis, Bob D, Dave Schrader. Is it Schrader or Schroeder? I believe that's Schrader, but it could be Schroeder. BL, Fran Iverson, Volk, on B95, Dave Gregory, and everybody, Just Rosie. Thank you all. Fran Iverson, happy birthday again. Jenny, can you tell everybody where they can find you online?
All right,
While I
completely
catch my
forgot
breath.
about this part. Right. You can find me. You can find me through my website, where you can also find my shop to buy prints for your family and friends. My artwork at jennyrjohnson.com. You can find me on Twitter, unfortunately, still at Jenny R. Johnson, and everywhere else, including Threads, because Threads just blew up again this week. I'm at Jenny R. Johnson Art.
Cool.
And otherwise, I'll be in the studio forever.
What about you, Melissa Longo? Where can people find you online?
At Melissa Longo, Malissa, and at theintrovertedrepublic.com, Walking Art Made by Melissa, and Walking Art Made by Melissa on Patreon.
All right. Dr. Anne Marie Siegel, what about you? Does it have the number 1 in it?
Yes, at Anne Marie Siegel 1 on Twitter X.
All right, and everybody.
Checking on the Indiegogo for Seventh Rule to do some holiday shopping, because some of those perks are great gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Where is my head? You're right. Everybody, please, the best gift you can get anybody is an experience that'll last a lifetime, whether it's a 1-year subscription to the Seventh Rule to hear Walter Koenig talk about Star Trek, or whether it's a round table where they can actually meet him. They can actually meet Walter and talk with him and laugh at his jokes and have him not laugh at your jokes. It's great.
And I'll point out that it's a better price, not to be too infomercially, but it's like a better price than paying for like 2 minutes on your own at like another convention. Where you pay like $100 or more for 2 minutes of Zoom time. Like it's a like really amazing opportunity. It's a steal.
Yeah. So everybody, please make sure you check that out. Indiegogo.com. Check it out. The Seventh Rule, I'll put that right now in the comments section. And everybody, you can find me online at Ryan TG Husk on Twitter. That's at Ryan TG Husk, or just Virtual TrekCon, the Seventh Rule or Falling Tower on your favorite social media, but especially on YouTube, because that's where we are. And you can listen to us wherever podcasts are found. This one in particular, Virtual TrekCon, or check out the Seventh Rule wherever podcasts are found. Thank you all very much for joining us. I think that's it. When you want to know Star Trek 4 news, especially if you want to hear about it every week, put it on the main viewer.